Hello, I'm Johnny Hazel, and today we're going to review the Starr program. So I've done quite a few variants. You might want to check all these variant videos out. You can find them in the description box below. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at the introduction overview page. So I will not spend too much time on this because a lot of it is self-explanatory. So the program for Starr is in general a 3-day routine, okay, and you have a heavy, light and medium day. The intensity is determined by three things. Firstly, the percentage of the 5 rep max, the percentage you lift. So on the heavy day you will ramp up normally to a 5 rep max, or it's 80% of that top set on Monday, or 90% on that top set on Monday. Alternatively, it could be down to the exercise you use. For example, a behind the neck press is used on a light day, a bench is on a heavy day, and a strict overhead press is on a medium day. It could also be as a result of the rep scheme that you use. For example, 5 sets of 3 is a great light day rep scheme. 5 sets of 5 is good for a heavy day, as with 5 sets of 10, which is not in there right now. Let's just put that in, because it's brutal. That's why I'm leaving it out. The weekly increment, now that is basically how much weight you add to the bar for your top set on Monday each week throughout the duration of the program. And remember, this is a linear program, and by that I mean the progression is determined by the weight added to the bar each week, and it's a fixed amount. It's not designed in a block or mesocycle, microcycle, macrocycle. It's a very basic linear style training program. Here are some notes. You can read those yourself. They're pretty self-explanatory. Here are some exercise tutorial videos. If you do not know how to do any of these exercises, I highly advise that you watch the videos first. For example, the shrugs are not your traditional barbell bodybuilding style shrugs. These are slightly different. You want to watch that video if you don't know what I'm talking about. Also, the behind the neck press is an exercise you need to make sure you have the technique right. I do not buy into the mass hysteria that it's a dangerous exercise. It is absolutely fundamentally not. It's only dangerous because 90% of the people out there are complete idiots and they don't look into the exercise first and learn how to do it. So they just assume you merely just do the opposite of a front press, which is like a strict overhead press, and they give it a go and they end up injuring themselves because they didn't apply any technique to it. So this is taken directly from the Strongest Shall Survive 1976 Starr book, and it explains why he omits the deadlift. The thing I must say about this program is it is not designed for a powerlifter or an Olympic lifter or a weightlifter at all. Okay, this program was designed for college and high school football players and American football players. Okay, so it wasn't designed for weightlifters. So from Starr's perspective, the deadlift is a high risk exercise. There's a lot of dangers with the exercise. Most injuries are as a result of the deadlift. So he strongly believes that there are alternatives out there that are less dangerous, like the power cleans, the high pulls, the shrugs, the snatches, these exercises from Olympic lifting that are more beneficial and less risky than the deadlift. Okay, and he strongly believes in that, to the point that you will never find a deadlift in a true Starr program. He just doesn't program it. It's not in there. You must remember as well, this program was written for athletes. Okay, they're not powerlifters. They don't have to worry about being proficient at the deadlift and training the deadlift. That's why, for me, the reason why I think the deadlift is one of those exercises that you can leave out, or you don't need to train with great frequency, is because the deadlift is highly taxing on your central nervous system. Now, that's not a bro science fact. That's 100% the truth. You know, since I was diagnosed, I had COVID and recovered since that. I had some pretty bad long COVID syndrome, and that affected my central nervous system. And every time I deadlifted, I spent the next 14 days basically comatose in a state of constant fatigue. So I can tell you straight up that the deadlift is incredibly taxing on the central nervous system. Maybe not for everyone, but definitely for most people. So it is definitely an exercise you want to be careful of, and it isn't necessarily something you 100% need to program. There are other pulling exercises, compound pulling exercises, that can provide the same strength benefits as a deadlift, without all the risk and all the central nervous system fatigue. So anyway, there we go. That's that reason. That will explain that. Let's move on to the program now. Today we're going to look at my variant of the Bill Starr routine, and this is an intermediate powerlifting program. I've already done my beginner variant tutorial. If you haven't seen that, you can find the link to that in the description below. Also, this spreadsheet is downloadable from my website, and the link to that is once again in the description box below, so you can find that there. Right, let's get started on a tutorial of this. Now, firstly, I must state, as I've stated earlier, that this has the deadlift exercise in it. Now, Bill Starr does not program with the deadlift. He doesn't agree with it. He doesn't think it's necessary and believes it's a high-risk exercise. But this program has been tailored for a intermediate powerlifter. As a powerlifter, you have to deadlift, okay? Because that's one of the 3 lifts you're training for all year round. So the frequency can vary, but the actual lift cannot be completely omitted from your training completely. Now, if you were doing this program as a strongman, an Olympic lifter, or just for general strength and improving strength and size, then yes, you could potentially omit the deadlift, but you can't as a powerlifter. Okay, so the first thing you're going to have to do is enter your 1 rep maxes in the yellow highlighted cells. That's for these ones right here. The ones that have not been highlighted, do not put anything in there, because as you can see, I already have a predefined formula in there. So for example, the front squat is 50% of your back squat. The power clean is exactly 54% of your deadlift, and the shrug is 2 times your power clean. That's what Bill Starr recommended. So we have a kg and a pound spreadsheet. Now the kg spreadsheet is 2.5 kilogram, rounding to 2.5, and the pound is rounding to 5. That's because in pounds you try to have it to a nice rounded number, whereas in kilograms it can be to 0.5. Okay, so for the increments, this can vary. That's why it's highlighted in yellow. It really depends on the individual lifter and how confident you are. This is a 5-week training program. Okay, so it's not a very long program. So you're not going to be able to add too much to the. You're not going to be able to add too much to the bar in 5 weeks. So this is a tricky one. But for me personally, I'm just going to cut it short and say, for the bench press, I believe 2.5 kilograms or 5 pounds is appropriate. For the squat and pulling exercises, I believe 5 kilograms or 10 pounds is appropriate for an intermediate lifter. You can do a little bit more, you can do a little bit less, but I certainly wouldn't advise adding too much to the bar. You'll burn out and fatigue by about week 3. Okay, so now we've covered that. It's a 3-day-a-week program for 5 weeks, and you have day 1 a heavy day, day 2 a light day, day 3 a medium day. And medium, light and heavy, how do we determine that? Well, a few things. Firstly, by the total tonnage of how much you've lifted in that session for that exercise, how much weight you've lifted for each working set, and also how many reps, the rep scheme that you're using, how many reps. All these things determine the intensity of that day. So first thing you have to do is a warm-up. You always got to warm up. You can't skip a warm-up. Okay, so I recommend, as does Bill Starr, a cardiovascular workout, maybe 5 minutes on the treadmill, just to get the blood flowing. Okay, next up you're going to do some leg raises, 3 sets of as many reps as possible. Try and beat that every week by adding 5 reps to that. So if you did in week 1 3 sets of 15, try to get 3 sets of 20 in week 2, and then 3 sets of 25 in week 3, and so on. Then do your stretching and you're ready to go. So the first exercise is a squat. We're going to do 5 sets of 10. As you can see, this is slightly different to the beginner one where we did 5 sets of 5. 5 sets of 10 is brutal. I must warn you firstly, there's a ridiculous amount of tonnage on this exercise. No, I don't have it right now. So you must prepare yourself for that. So the top heavy set, how do we determine that weight? So that is 70% of our 1 rep max. Okay, and that's rounded to 2.5 or 5. In this case, 2.5. The first 4 sets are what we label as ramping warm-up sets. So you are working off the top heavy set weight for that day. Okay, as you can see there, we're using cell 25, which is this one right here, and we're doing 80% of that weight. 85% for set 2, 90% for set 3, 95% for set 4, and then we hit our top heavy set. That's how Bill Starr programs operate. You warm up to the top heavy set for that day. Okay, you're not doing straight sets. You're not doing a straight set of 5 sets of 10 with 147.5. You're ramping up to that top heavy set. That's the important set that you're aiming to achieve. Right, for the bench press, we do 5 sets of 5. Same principle applies, but this time we take our 5 rep max, which has already been calculated automatically based on what we put in these cells. So we already know that we're working top set weight, which is 135 kilograms. And again, we're going to ramp up to that with 80% of the top heavy set weight. 85, 90, 95, then we do that. Simple, right? It's not too complicated here. You don't need an advanced degree in biomechanics to work this stuff out. It's pretty straightforward. So then the deadlift, we do 5 sets of 5. We know our top heavy set weight because we've already had it calculated right here. And this is 87%. I'm going to double check that. 87% of your 1 rep max. That's how I calculate my 5 rep max. 87%. I think that that's absolutely spot on. That's the general rule of thumb. You'll find that online. You'll find that with most lifters, 85 to 87%. So same principle applies. We warm up to our top heavy set, 80, 85, 90, 95. Now, you might have been pretty on the ball and noticed that we are right here rounding to 5 on our warm-up sets. The reason we're doing that is because Bill Starr in general believes that the ramping set should be rounded to a nice round number and consistent. So you can't make like a 7 kilogram jump, then a 20 kilogram, then a 11.3 kilogram jump, and then a 7.1 kilogram jump. You want it to be rounded and simple. These are ramping warm-up sets, so just keep it simple for this. So as you can see on the squat, we got going up in 5 for the first one, then 10, then 5, and then we hit the top heavy set. That's pretty straightforward there. Now with the bench, we're going up basically in 5 for the first one, and then we add another 5 for the third set, add 10 for the fourth set, and then we hit our 5th set. Now with the deadlift, you can see again it's pretty rounded, 75 to 85, 85 to 95, 95 to 205. Then we hit our top heavy set weight. That's just makes sense, right? That's the right way to approach these ramping sets. There we go. So we finished the workout with 2 isolation hypertrophy exercises. That's the leg extension and the lying leg curl or standing leg curl, or banded leg curl, whatever one you want to do. And you're just doing 3 sets of 20. And each week, try to add about 5 kilograms or 10 pounds or maybe 2.5 kilograms, 5 pounds to the bar or to the machine every week, just to make sure you're following this concept of a linear progression. So the light day is probably the easiest day of the week, but don't let the title fool you. It's still a bloody good workout. So the first exercise, bearing in mind, please do the warm-up beforehand, but we're not going to talk about that again. It's already there. But one thing you'll notice is that we're not doing leg raises this time, we're doing sit-ups. But except for that, everything's the same. Right, the front squat's 5 sets of 3. Right, we know the weight for our 5 rep max already because it's calculated right here. And we know that because our front squat is 50% of our back squat. So we're doing 5 sets of 3. This is a good rep scheme for a light day squat. The front squat is a good exercise to put on a light day because it's lighter than your back squat. So there we go, that's why it's on a light day. So the first 3 sets are ramping sets, 80, 85, 90, and then the 4th and 5th set are the same weight. For the 4th set, we use our top heavy set weight. I just like that concept on our light day. Behind the neck press is a great light day exercise, but do not program it as a medium or heavy day exercise. Could be risky. You don't really want to use massive heavy weights for the behind the neck press. So the rep scheme is different this time. 3 sets 5, 3 sets of 3, and 1 set of back off set for 8 to 10 reps. And let's talk about that. So the first 3 sets are ramping sets, and it's based off this weight right here that's been I put in bold. Now you can see that we're actually doing just 3 reps for our top heavy set weight. Now the reason being is because, as you can see, we're doing 3 sets of 3 here, and we are actually increasing the weight for each set of these sets of 3. So instead of doing, let's say, 4 sets of 5 and 1 back off set, we're doing 3 sets of 5, 3 sets of 3 and 1 back off set. That changing and sort of variation in the rep scheme helps to increase strength gains. Okay, consistency is important, yes, but as you progress as a lifter, you need to increase the variation in your lifting. You can't always, for the rest of your life, do sets of 5. Okay, you're going to have to increase the variation in your training and try and increase the complexity of your training to kind of create those strength gains that you're chasing. So what we do here is we add 2.5 kilograms or 5 pounds for the second set of 3, and we add an additional 2.5 or 5 pounds for the final set of 3. There we go. Quite simple, really. And the first 3 ramping sets are based off this set weight. As you can see, we click on that first one, you can see it's 85% of that weight, and the back off set is the same weight that you did for the third set. There we go, quite simple. Final exercise you can do is the pendlay row or seal row. If you don't have that specialized bench to do the seal row, then do not do it, just do the pendlay row. Okay, here what we're going to do is we already know our 5 rep max weight because it's right up here. So the first 3 sets are going to be our ramping sets. So we do 85, 90, 95% of our top heavy set weight. And the 4th set is the same weight as the top heavy set weight. So we do that weight for 2 sets of 5. On a light day, I like to apply this. I did the same thing for the front squat. I'm going to do the same thing for the pendlay barbell row. I just like to do at least 2 working sets with the top heavy set weight on a light day. You can change that if you wish to, but I think it's a good idea. So then you finish with 2 isolation exercises, the weighted hyperextension and the toe raises or calf raises. Quite simple, 3 sets of 15, 3 sets of 30, and you want to add weight each week, maybe 2.5 kg, 5 pounds, 5 kilograms, 10 pounds, whatever you can. But keep to this concept of linear progression with everything you do with Bill Starr. Everything has to progress. That's the concept of this training philosophy. We're not working in training blocks or mesocycles or microcycles. We're working in this sort of very simple linear progression, adding weight each week. Right, medium day. We're going to do time squats, or you can just completely omit that and do your basic back squats. I'll talk about time squats in a minute. And you can do 5 sets of 5, and the same principle applies with the light day. I like to do the same weight for the 4th set as the 5th set. So I like to use that top heavy set weight for at least 2 sets. Sorry, there's an alarm just went off. And the first 3 sets are ramping sets. Now, how do we calculate the time squat weight? Or if you don't want to do time squats, just squat. It is 90% of the weight that we did for our top heavy set on Monday. That's how we do it. Quite simple, not too much to that. Now, time squats. How do you do time squats? How do I do time squats? Time squats are fantastic. I really enjoy them. I like that it adds a bit of variation, a bit more complexity in my training, and it gives me a pretty damn good cardio workout. So I will basically time how long it takes me to do the working set, or 5, and then for that time that it took me to complete those sets, those reps in that set, I will apply that as my rest period. So if it took me, for instance, 30 seconds to do 1 set of 5 for the first set, then I will take a 30-second rest. If for the second set it took me 48 seconds to complete the set, I will take a 48-second rest. And then that way, it really pushes the body and mind to work harder and remain disciplined. But some people will not enjoy this idea. And if that's you, then just take out the time squats and just do your basic back squats with the rest interval that works for you. Now, Bill Starr does recommend keeping the rest intervals quite low, maybe anywhere from, I'd say 3 minutes he tends to recommend. 2 to 3 minutes is pretty okay. I think if you're going over 5 minutes in your rest intervals, then you're probably on your phone, checking out Pornhub or looking on Facebook or Instagram. If that's the case, then you are not lifting properly. You want to try and set a stopwatch, a timer on your phone, set it to 3 minutes, and just focus on the music, focus on what you're doing, stay in the zone, wait for that alarm to go off, then you get going. So the strict overhead press, we are doing the exact same rep scheme as we did for the behind the neck press. 3 sets 5, 3 sets 3, 1 set of 8 to 10 as a back off, right? So the top heavy set is highlighted in bold right here. The weight we choose for that is our 5 rep max on week 1. And the first 3 sets are ramping sets, 85, 90, 95% of that weight. And then the next 3 sets are where we start pushing the body and mind and soul. So for the first set, as I said, it's your 5 rep max on week 1. Then you add 2.55 pounds for the second, and then add another 2.5 kg or 5 pounds for the third. Then you do your back off set, which is the same way as the third set. Boom, done. Shrugs. Now this is slightly more complicated. You don't use your 5 rep max weight on week 1. You do that on week 3. As you can see here, it's week 3. Now that's because the shrugs are heavy. Okay, it is heavy weight, heavier than the deadlift, heavier than the power cleans, heavier than all other pulling exercises. Now Bill Starr recommends that you leave the 5 rep max to at least week 3 or week 4. So the first 2-3 weeks you're warming up to that. That makes sense. It avoids injury and it avoids burning out the central nervous system and fatiguing. So quite simple here. What we do, week 2, we reduce the weight by 5 kg or 10 pounds. Week 1, we reduce the weight by another 5 kg or 10 pounds, and that's our starting weight. Now remember, our increments for the pulling exercises are 5 kg or 10 pounds in this instant. If you change that, for example, meaning you want to do 10 kg or 20 pounds, then the weight will be reduced by that amount here. Okay, so that's how that works. Right, the first 4 sets are ramping sets. 80, 85, 90, 95% of the top heavy set weight. And then you do your top heavy set. Pretty simple, same formula as some of the other stuff that we've done already. So there we go, you do 5 sets of 5 with a shrug. Bear in mind that this is not a bodybuilding shrug. If you do not know how to do these Bill Starr style strength, starting strength shrugs, go to the beginning sheet and click on here, right here, and it will take you to a starting strength video with Mark Rippletoe outlining how to do these shrugs. Thought I'd bring that up now. Final thing that we do for the day are the toe raises using the same weight we did on this day. I put Tuesday because you might be doing a Tuesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday split, but in this case if we were doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday split, we'd use the same weight as Wednesday. Sorry, my head's not working this morning, but yeah, just say day 2. So don't think about changing the weight for this, just keep it the same as you did on day 2. Right, we haven't talked about how we progress, how we do a linear progression. So it's pretty simple, again, very simple. That's what I love about linear programs. It's really basic stuff. Okay, so for the squat, we add 5 kg. So week 1, we start with our 5 rep max weight, and then we add 5 kg. For week 2, add another 5, 5, and 5. Right? Nothing too complicated there. For the heavy day bench, we add 2.5 kilograms. Week 1, we start with our 5 rep max weight, add 2.5, 37.5, 40, 42, 45. Simple. Deadlift, we add 5 kilograms, 10 pounds. As you can see, week 1, we start with our 5 rep max weight, we add 5, we add 5, we add 5, we add 5. Pretty basic stuff there. Same rule applies with the light day front squats. We add 5 kilograms each week. We start with our 5 rep max week 1, and then we just add 5 for our top heavy set each week. For the behind the neck press, same concept. We start with our predefined formula for week 1, which is 70% of our front press, our strict front overhead press, 5 rep max weight, we do 70% of that, and then after that we add 2.55 pounds each week. Simple, right? Nothing too complicated so far. And because this is a pulling exercise a row, we start with our 5 rep max week 1 right here, and then we just add 5 kilograms to our top heavy set weight each week, and the ramping sets will then all adjust based on the new top set heavy weight. That applies for everything. It's all based off that weight. Can you see the logic now? It's starting to make sense, but it's also starting to become much easier to understand how Starr programs work. And you don't necessarily, as I said earlier, need a degree in physics or chemistry or advanced mathematics to really understand how this all works. It's pretty basic. Now the squats here, the 5 sets 5 on the medium day, same principle applies. But this time we start week 1 with 90% of our top heavy set on Monday, and then we just add 5 kg each week. Strict overhead press. Start with our 5 rep max week 1 and add 2.55 pounds each week. Shrugs, we've already talked about that. We actually start with 10 kilograms in this instant, or 20 pounds less on week 1 than we do on week 3, because week 3 is when we do our 5 rep max weight, and then week 4, week 5 we just add another 5 kg or 10 pounds. So we finish with 245 as our 5 rep max. There we go. That's basically it in a nutshell. So if you have any questions, what you need to do is contact me on Instagram or contact me in the comments on YouTube or on my website, and then I will try and get back to you as quick as I can. And you can download this program from my website, and it will come in this exact same Excel spreadsheet formula, and you also have access to all the programs right here, and you can find all the tutorial videos for all these videos right here, all these spreadsheets, all these sheets right here, all the different variants. You can find that on my YouTube channel or my website on the actual Starr JH variant. You can find the links to those all on my website or on my can't remember now, or on my YouTube's playlist. That's right, the playlist for the Starr JH variant. So you can check that all out there. Thanks for watching. Good luck with the program. Have a fantastic day.